Started off being a high school coach about 10 years, just from my development after playing at Michigan State. Had a defensive coordinator used to always call me from high school, and I kept telling him no, 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 I didn't want to coach. As far as defensive philosophy, obviously I was coached by Coach Nick Saban. Got me a lot of good core values as far as technique and fundamentals. My DB coach at that time was Coach D'Antonio, which is a great coach. Again, always emphasizes fundamentals and technique, and that's how I kind of coaching that currently right now. So I was blessed to have those kind of teachers in that regard.
For 5 years in Mount Pleasant, Coach Collins has preached that to be a great football player, you need more than just skills.
But this is a game in which that you got to love. So I tell my guys all the time, if you don't love it, don't be here. So that's my first basis on which that you've got to come. When you step on this field, you've got to have a different personality. You got to have a love for the game, and the first thing is it's a game. So I tell my guys always have fun. Big difference in the game is always trying to get turnovers on the defensive side of the ball. So we want to create turnovers, and I was lucky enough to have Josh as well as Amari to play young. And first it was about more techniques and fundamentals, and next year they started their junior year. They went from PBUs and start yelling at them to get interceptions. And they kind of carried that tradition on, and it kind of rubbed off to the younger guys, in which that right now we want to go get the ball when the ball's in the air. So that's our challenge to us. When that ball goes in the air, it's ours.
In his senior season, Josh Cox is a national leader with 6 interceptions, a feat that he has been preparing for since he arrived on campus.
I joke with the young guys now, but he was a guy that was young and paid attention. So he was able to start off at nickel, which is like a linebacker / cornerback DB. So he learned a lot of pieces as far as the up front 7. So he was able to kind of translate that throughout the year. So we always have talked about fits, always talked about how we fit into the defense. So again, with him having a young growth process of playing nickel, he was able to move back, play corner, and also play safety, because again, he has a great understanding for all the pieces on his half of the field, and he can also see the whole field in itself. One thing about him, like I tell the younger guys now, you've got to learn now. While you're not playing as much, but you still got to have the ability to learn. I tell guys they got to write stuff down. The dullest pencil is sharper than the sharpest mind. And he was a guy in which that would always take notes. He still takes notes every single day. He'll never be at a point, in my opinion, of him thinking that he knows everything.
Luckily for Coach Collins, on the other side of the defense, there's another senior captain to round out his secondary.
As I looked at him back coming out of high school, people were saying why did I like Amari Coleman? And because he didn't play a lot of defense, play a lot of running back. But with that being said, he was able to show that he was a great athlete. And I said every time he runs the ball, he leans forward. He's a tough player. He's going to be tough to make tackles, and he's a great, outstanding punt returner. So I knew he had ball skills, and those things is what he shows here. He's a great athlete. He's got tremendous quick twitch ability with him, and he has a knack for making plays. And again, he was thrown in the fire early, and I always pushed him. I always pushed him, and I always told him he's going to be a great player here. Just keep believing, keep learning, and everything will work itself out as long as you love the game. Going back to that first core value. And I think that's something which that he kind of brings to the table.
At 3rd in the nation with 19 interceptions, this CMU secondary has everyone paying close attention.
I tell you what, with all this social media nowadays, that kind of speaks for itself now, So back in the old days, you had to tell them a little bit. Right now, they already know. I mean, I've been to a lot of schools where they already asked me about Amari Coleman. I already asked me about Sean Bunting, because those are guys are from Michigan area, and they're pretty well known. So surprisingly as it may seem, guys already know about them. And then when they go out of town, with us playing on those Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights, guys will know who guys are there as well. So it's been amazing as far as the name recognition that the Central Michigan Chippewas have. The proof's in the pudding, and the social media helps that aspect of it. But at the same time, a lot of high school coaches know about it, so when we come in those schools, they already know who Central Michigan is.
Recently nominated for Defensive Backs Coach of the Year, Archie Collins reflects on how his career got started.
They had to produce, so my job is to get them in a position to make those plays. They have made those plays, and I do feel blessed and honored to be able to get a recognition in that regard, because I do give a lot to the game as far as the mentorship as well as the coaching, which I try to bring to the players that are here. So it means a lot to me, because just for the acknowledgement, I greatly appreciate it through the hard work that I've put in, as well as the players, and just having Coach Bono allow me to be here. When I came up, I always wanted a mentor. I've got a little bit of advice coming up through the ranks, when I was coming through ball, but I never had a true mentor to tell me exactly how a coach would feel. One of the main reasons I went into coaching is because more of a mentoring the guys. The football will take care of itself. You know, I know the upbringing that I've had. I know what I can bring to the table in regards to myself and fundamentals of technique. But more importantly, I want them to feel as though they have somebody to talk to. You know, life is full of a lot of changes. You know, a lot of struggles, ups and downs in life, and you've got to be able to handle adversity. And you know, just throughout the courses of these players' careers, I try to give that to them in that regard, where they feel as though they can't come talk to me, you know, and talk about things outside of football. Because you know, I don't think a player cares how much you know unless you show that you care. So I think that's an important attribute that you got to have, because again, but that's one of the main reasons in which that I do coach, is really to mentor these young men and be great people after football. You know, football, again, like I said earlier, is going to end. It's, you know, you can't, it's inevitable. It's going to stop. You know, so with that being said, developing their character so that they're great fathers, you know, and great best friends, you know, great people.